What we're going to watch in this board meeting clip is a fairly interesting discussion among the board members and Harry there about the safety issue. Listen to the discussion. I'll cut in at various moments.
Excuse me. When we're talking about safety, it's always a tough conversation, of course, because there's always the history of things that have happened before, and of course our hearts goes out to folks that have experienced loss because of safety issues, and not just here but around the world. So that's where we start. So it's always an emotional conversation as we look to have these discussions. In regards to our system, how many open systems similar to ours exist? I mean, as Director Esmond was mentioning, there's numerous types of systems that are out there. I go to D.C., Chicago, the BART, all of those, and they're different. They're a different system as far as the open and close, and we have an open system. I mean, everywhere you go, the system's fairly open all around the region, and that's by design. And many times you hear about the pluses of that a lot. What challenges does that propose? And if there aren't very many open systems out there, and again, the safety innovations then do take time.
Now, Director Stovall there brings up a very interesting point. I mean, the older systems have all seemed to have a much different approach to the safety of riders. All the underground systems, all the elevated systems don't have anywhere near the problems of the light rail systems in terms of these kinds of incidents. It's an excellent question. I mean, he brings up a very excellent point. And I'll tell you, this guy Stovall, I think he could run for office and actually win.
There are many open systems. Actually, when you were speaking, I was trying to rattle them off in my head as to how many. I would venture that there are at least 15, 18, maybe more, and there are more coming.
He's correct. The light rail model, which was thought up in Washington, D.C., by the way, and demonstrated in Portland, Oregon, is a different sort of transit vehicle. First of all, it really, and everybody who's been somewhat educated on these matters knows that the light rail and the streetcar is not really about transit. It's about development. They install these trains along with various property tax abatements and credits to get people to invest their money into properties along these lines. It's not really about transit, okay? And this has been one of the major problems in transit. As the light rail has taken over in all of these cities, including Portland, you've seen the decimation of the bus services in all of these cities. We've seen in all the cities this huge cutback in services at the same time they built the light rail. We've seen a collapse of transit, really. And let's be honest about this. We've seen the collapse of transit with the advent of light rail. The policymakers, the oligarchs decided to change, and this goes right along with the late 80s, 90s, where they started changing the emphasis of all the federal programs to actually helping people, to actually helping business. That's what the light rail was all about, is helping business. It's not about helping riders. They don't give it. Do you think they care about the public getting killed? Of course they don't care about the public getting killed. They don't design these programs with the intent of, they don't design it to kill people, but they don't put that as part of the planning process, really. I mean, and if it hadn't been a David Sale and a Darla Sturdy, they probably wouldn't do much here either. Those people pushed it. And they're only getting around now to trying to talk about it, and they still haven't really done anything about it. But the light rail, the advent of light rail was a whole different animal that changed the face of transit, not for the betterment of transit, I might add. And Harry's right. They started this, they put it on the street, they did all of this for the express reason of helping the developers.
From an open station situation?
Yes. So Calgary Transit, San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, San Diego, St. Louis, Baltimore, Charlotte. I can't name them all.
So, so we're not
Arizona,
quite
Phoenix.
we're not quite unique in that design,
No.
and so we've got partners in looking at the innovation of safety features.
Yes.
Both us and other systems that exist.
Yes.
And of course, I would imagine that we share at some point.
Well, that's the beauty of the Transit Cooperative Research Program, is that that's where a lot of the sharing occurs, and then the sharing also occurs on national forum. At one time, the American Public Transportation Association had a subcommittee on studying these types of issues. I was the chair of that committee. So it's an ongoing dialogue over and over again. I participated in a peer review of Denver RTD last year, where they were opening a new light rail line that is open. Denver is the one I forgot as well. Utah, Salt Lake City. And we suggested many of these types of improvements. They did not incorporate this into their design. So it's all still work in progress. That's why I'm saying I think that in many respects Trimet is the leader in some of these things.
We already know that Harry will spare no instance to toot the horn of Trimet. We have no idea whether any of this is true. We don't have any idea whether the accident rate at Portland is higher or lower than places like Salt Lake City or Denver or Phoenix or San Diego. We don't know. These statistics are not available. They don't make them available. You can't do any research on this kind of thing. So he's speculating. He always, anytime he has an opportunity to put a plug in, and that's what he gets paid for. I mean, that's why he gets the big money, because he is there to plug Trimet, and they can rely on him to do that. Is that bad? Well, it's bad because it's not objective. When you hear a government official talking, you want truth. You don't want him to just be pumping the company line. We want to hear the real truth. And that's what we don't get out of Trimet. We don't get an objective truth.
Trimet was one of the very first agencies to implement the overhead sign warning of a approaching train for the motorist. That had not been done in other locations or other cities. But we also learned from them. There were some things that were done in Calgary Transit that we adopted in our design criteria. So it is a learning experience.
Thank you.
I just have a follow-up. I'm curious as to if they don't have anything that we're doing now, what is their safety measures that they have? Just briefly.
Now, Consuelo just shocked me there, because that was a question that only somebody that was sharp and paying attention would ask. Because what she picked up on was, since we're the ones that are leading the way, what is everybody else doing? And I was hard on her last time. I get the idea she doesn't know what's going on. Of course, I don't know this. I'm just looking at the board meeting. But this question here was a good question, and obviously she is paying attention. And not only is she paying attention, but she picked up on something he said and wants him to expand on it. So let's hear what he says.
I'm sorry.
That if it's an open system as we have, and that we're on the cutting edge of incorporating these
What
kinds of
Denver
things.
did not have in their design was the channelization and the orientation of the pedestrian towards the approach of a train. So that was something that they learned from Trimet.
Okay, so Denver learned one thing. I mean, that's it. We're on the cutting edge, and Denver learned they put in their little iron bars to herd them in a certain area. Okay, that's not much of an answer, Harry. It's also, see how she didn't press it? This is what really pisses me off about the board. When they actually get something that can actually show something beyond what the administrators are saying, they don't push it. You know what I mean? This is what I really want this board, if any of them listen to me, push it! Push them for real answers. Stop taking what they give you and being happy with it. Push these people. That guy there is getting $175,000 a year. He can handle your skepticism.
Go ahead.
In lieu of the subject coming up about the Title VI program, could those signs be bilingual?
Can they be bilingual?
Mhm.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a matter of size of the lettering,
Yeah.
availability of space to put signs.
There he goes again. There he goes again. He's coming up with why they're not doing it. Well, we have to get more space on the sign. We have to change the lettering because he doesn't have a good answer. Joe Esmond hits it on the head there. He doesn't have an answer for him. He's going to tell you in a minute. Well, it's not in the manual of signs. You know, they always have an excuse why they're not doing something, but they'll never tell you why they will do something. This has been a quote I heard many years ago. One of the advocates for some community-based organization complained about Trimet, and what she said was, Trimet will come up with 100 reasons why they can't do something, why they cannot do something, but they can't come up with one reason why they can do something.
The added signs, but typically the MUTCD, the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Device Manual, the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices dictates the type of signs, and those are not bilingual signs. And these types of signs are in the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That doesn't mean they can't be.
Just looking ahead, the demographics are going to change in the state of
Yes,
Oregon.
yes.
So let's, I'd rather be ahead of it than behind. Thank you.
Now, that was some really good board of directors type behavior there, especially by Joe Esmond. That was some really good stuff. This is what we want to start seeing. We want to start seeing this board of directors start challenging these administrators to be more than they are. Okay, and this is what we need. We need a board of directors that's willing to go against McFarland. And don't be scared of McFarland and his cronies. You're in the board. I know that they got rid of Lynn Learback because he used to take contrary points of view. Kit Hopper comes in office and he gets rid of. So I have no use for Kit Hopper. I'll never vote for that man again. I regret that I voted for him at all. But I listened to my union. Shouldn't have listened to them. It was a mistake. But I'm saying to these board of directors, you are better to take a confrontational approach because you'll get them thinking outside of the box. The Trimet management has had their way for way too many years. It's time for some people to start challenging them. And this little dialogue here was a good start.